Welcome to the Monique Guiled Method Show, where business meets science and intuition on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com. Monique Guild's unique technique leverages her cutting-edge and no-nonsense approach to evaluate you, your business, and your projects, to see and pinpoint blocks, and as a futurist, she has the know-how to catapult your business to the next level. So call in with your questions to 504-556-9696. And now, here's the host, Monique Guiled.
Well, hello this afternoon, Wednesday day. How are you? This is Monique Guiled, the host of the Monique Guiled Method radio show. I'm so glad you are joining me today. And we have an interesting topic here. This is what the topic's going to be today. It is be prepared. Now, leaders must lead from future realities, having nothing to do with the past. How in the world do we lead from future realities, having nothing to do with the past? Well, that's what I'm going to dive into. I am a futurist, a turnaround development strategist, and I develop companies all over the world. I turn around large products and projects and anything that's become stuck or blocked, or people who have no idea what they're doing in their careers or what's next. I help you get on track, and I'm able to do it. I would probably say, I'm going to venture out here, I'm going to definitely say I probably am able to do it faster than anybody in the world. That's the bottom line. I have an inherited ability, and I'm able to know exactly what's caused a business to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level just from hearing somebody's voice. I have, my dad was a patient. He could have my dad was a patient. My dad was a doctor. He was a patient too. My dad was a doctor, and he could have a patient walk in the door and tell you everything about that person before they open their mouth. And my grandmother had some other things going on as well, and I got their abilities and then some. And I believe that we all grow up with, because of our circumstances, we develop certain skills as a result of those circumstances, and those skills can really be applied to our lives later on and end up benefiting us, even what may seem like at the worst of the worst, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, some of my stuff I've been through. May seem like the worst circumstances in the world end up being the biggest blessings, because you develop certain thought patterns, certain skills, certain techniques, if you will, as a result of those circumstances. So let me ask you something. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? If you've ever asked yourself those questions and you're wanting to talk to me, call here at 504-556-9696. Be happy to talk to you. Or if you have any questions about what we're getting ready to talk about, please give a call. But anyway, so let me jump into this. So I was in conversation with a client the other day, and I wanted to share this with you. And I said to this client, I told him, you will not be able to create a reality based on your current neurological programming, what you know based on your past. Because he's been wanting to figure out how is he going to get out of these circumstances? How is he going to just create a whole new situation? And what got him into this situation to begin with is his current neurological programming, right? His thinking got him to where he is now, and to get himself out of it, you got to come up with some new thoughts, something not based on your past. So again, I told him, you're not going to be able to create a reality based on your current neurological programming, what you know based on your past. And he was like, okay, so what does that mean? What am I going to do about that? Like, how the heck? So now what? So as we all know, the global events are transforming at lightning speed. All the different things going on in the world today. I mean, things are transforming so fast. I don't know if you guys keep up with virtual reality or artificial intelligence. I mean, all these different things that are happening that are literally going to change our world in ways that are mind-blowing. And so it's time for us to dive into a future time that is so far ahead of this time. It's where you're going to get your answers. It's not only where you're going to get your answers, but it's where you will begin to create a reality that is such an unknown to the now world. Well, what the heck does that all mean, Monique? How do you dive into a future time that's so far ahead of this time? I was watching a show called The Genius Equation on, I believe it is on Amazon Prime. And they talk about all the different geniuses, Einstein, all the different people, all the geniuses that we all know of. And the main thing is what they were saying is we are all genius. We are all have genius capabilities. We're all that. But these particular people that stood out in history, they had a passion. They had a drive. They had a wanting to know. They needed to know. They were obsessed with knowing. Einstein died not having figured out the equation. He wanted the equation. How did they say it? Of the all, of the meaning of all, to be a very simple equation. And he spent hours and hours and days and weeks, and they showed a picture of his office, what it was like when he passed away. And he was consumed, obsessed with figuring out there's got to be an equation for, I guess, God. I think that's what they said, was just there's got to be an equation for all that created the all, the Big Bang Theory. And he says it's got to be simplistic. There's got to be something there. But he was obsessed with figuring this out. He did whatever he had to do to get into this, dive into this future reality. We're going to be going to break here in a second, but I want you to start contemplating, what are you so obsessed with that you need to know, that you want to figure out? Now, is that figuring out a distractive relationship? Is that figuring out why people do what they do in their lives and why they behave that they do? Or are you coming from a greater mind, wanting, because people you can't control, but contemplating realities that have never been before in something you're passionate about? So start thinking about this. I'm Monique Guild. If you're just joining us, this is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. And today's topic is Be Prepared. Now leaders must lead from future realities, having nothing to do with the past. So we're discussing this. And if you want to call in, the number's 504-556-9696, and I'd love to take your calls. And we're going to go to break now, and I will continue forward. WGSO 990 AM.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Here to the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. We are discussing Be Prepared. Now leaders must lead from future realities having nothing to do with the past. And I was talking about how we get to, there was a show it's on Prime Amazon. It's called The Genius Equation, and it's about geniuses and what makes a genius. And then basically the bottom line is that we are all geniuses. And the people that stand out the most in history, like Einstein and everybody else, is because they were so obsessed with gaining information, gaining knowledge, about their passion. They're not, what they were so passionate about and wanting to figure things out. And so one does not become a leader by staying vanilla. I'm going to say that right now. That is for darn sure. You just cannot stay in vanilla and be a leader at the same time. Leaders, and I'm talking about whether it's a leader in your household, a leader in your community, in your where you are in your state, a leader in your industry. You want to progress forward in what you're doing for a living. All these different things, all these different types of ways to be a leader. It is about stepping into the unknown and really asking and contemplating, what are you so passionate about? What really, what are your thoughts most consumed with? Okay? So one becomes a leader by creating each piece to your own puzzle. I mean, ask yourself, how many pieces of someone else's puzzle have you gotten distracted by? Right? If you want to do and be in your own ball game, you are literally meticulously creating each piece to the puzzle before you even put the puzzle together. Right? Each piece of the puzzle is created by going within. You're going within and you're contemplating and you're thinking and it doesn't matter whatever your passion is. It can be whatever it is. It does not matter what it is. As long as for you, it's stepping into an unknown reality. It's stepping into something that, like I talk about Elon Musk. He had, ever since he was a kid, he wanted to, loved space. He loved all this. He was consumed with it. He was so consumed with it, he taught himself how to, with building this rocket that he just launched. So he was obsessed with it. And he studied and did everything. He never went to formal training school for any of that stuff. He never did any of that. So now leaders must lead from the future, having nothing to do with the past. And it's where you're going to receive your answers. Because when you become so involved with learning and stepping into an unknown, and then even like with music, like if you're obsessed with somebody who wants to be an engineer in music or something along those lines, and you just study the greats and you study, but you start getting into more and more contemplation, your subconscious mind will percolate all throughout the day and through the nighttime, and all of a sudden you're going to start to receive answers that you've never thought of before. And it's for myself as a kid, and the reason why my ability has gone to the extent and beyond that it's gone to is I had to know certain things, and that allowed me to help clients navigate realities such as the United Nations Chemical Warfare Department. I have a client who was overseeing the General Council of Weapons of Mass Destruction and Terrorism and Organized Crime for the World Economic Forum, and we had to prepare for a conversation with the United Nations Chemical Warfare Department after the first bombs were dropped in Syria. And it's like, how on earth would I, Monique from New Orleans, went to, McDonough 15 in the French Quarter and McGee's, and, I'm how on earth would I even begin to be able to help somebody like that? Well, as a kid, I had to access certain parts of my brain, which I'll get into in a second, to know certain things. And I just, because of that, that part of my brain got really, expanded or goes into a subconscious reality when I'm contemplating other unknown realities. If I'm losing any of you, call me, 504-556-9696, because I know I'm talking about stuff that's kind of like, whoa, what is she saying? But I'm glad it's a whoa, what am I saying? Because I want to expand your mind. I want you to hear something different than you've ever heard before, because that's going to cause neural nets to fire up in your brain that have never been fired before, and it's going to cause you to think different ways. And if I can shake you up today and cause you to think in a different way, great. So, I've helped clients navigate the realities of that. Or my client who is a local artist, and she was a local artist here, and I said to her, we're going to get you to start meeting with architects. And we did all that, and she ended up working for Shanghai Disney. So when you start doing different things, taking different actions, you're going to get different results. And I want you to start thinking about what can you do to gain different results, to get different different things going on. So if you've ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? Call here. But continue on. There's no way to determine how to deal with current global circumstances unless you are downloading from future answers. This might not make sense now, but it's because you've operated solely based on your past. And like I said, Einstein, Tesla, Jobs, they all downloaded from a future history. They connected to the grid. And the grid is like an information highway. And I know this because as a kid, I had to contemplate other realities to help me override the current circumstances. And there's a grid. If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix and the grid, it's an information highway. And when you get so focused in creating new realities, you gain access from that information highway. You're able to tap into a much larger think tank, to a much greater source. The surest block to getting stuck from hearing and tapping into that source is when you tap into other people's realities and you get into their distractions. When you tap into people who are addictive personalities and you're wanting to figure out, why can't they stop drinking? Why can't they stop doing this? Why do they have so much rage? Going into those realities causes such a distraction in your own life because there's no way to figure that problem out because the addiction is way greater than anything you can ever imagine. And it'd be like talking to a bottle of gin and saying, why the heck do you drink so much? And you're talking to a bottle of gin and the gin's not going to answer you, or it's ridiculous. So for you to, really become conscious of what has you distracted, and then saying, and what am I most passionate about? Because I say to my clients, as big as the distraction is as great as your deliverables will be to the world. Now, I can say this with all the assurity, as sure as I'm sitting here, that is a truth. If you really begin to let go of what has you distracted, focus into what you're most passionate about, contemplate, focus, research, do everything you have to do. And if you don't know what you're passionate about, take a look at the distractions in your life and begin to heal those distractions. And I promise you, your passion, the things that you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to create next. Okay, we're going to go to commercial break right now, but you're here at WGSO 990 AM, and this is Monique Guild, your host of the Monique Guild Method Show, and we'll talk in a bit.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hey there, welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show. This is Monique Guild, your host, and we're talking about, be prepared. Now, leaders must lead from future realities having nothing to do with their past. So, getting back to, there's no way to determine how to deal with current global circumstances unless you are downloading from future answers. This may not make sense now, but it's because you've operated solely based on the past. So if you've ever asked yourself questions like, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? You have come to the right place. This is the Monique Guiled Method Show, WGSO 990 AM. And we're talking about Einstein and Tesla and Jobs and all downloading from a future history that connected to the grid. The grid is the information highway. And I know this because as a kid, I had to gain information. I had to know people. I had to be able to read people, size up situations. I had to know how to navigate waters. I had to know whether to go left or go right, what was safe, what was not safe, who was safe, who was not safe, that sort of situation. When I got kicked out of the house when I was 10 years old and put on the street, I had to know what the next step was. There was nobody there to say, okay, this is what you need to do when your mom kicks you out of the house. I had to know what to do. I had to know how to navigate, between, the waters of the FBI and the CIA when I was 11. And it ended up becoming one of the top 4 federal cases in Louisiana. My stepfather, Dr. Joseph Beasley, who some of you may remember, he was indicted, and it was a really, really tricky situation for the family with all that happened during that time, too. And I just had to know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys, and testifying against my mom, and just all kind of crazy stuff, like things that most kids don't get exposed to. But what the good news is I have this ability. Look, we all have special abilities. We all have skills. But I have this ability that allows me to, and I know, is to access information, to know things that have caused a business to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level. And because of what I grew up in, it really taught me to focus, to really focus. I had to step into the unknown to gain answers in how to navigate my life and move forward and keep myself safe. So it's the same sort of skills that when you're tapping in to creating new realities, when you're so obsessed and so passionate about what you're doing and you're so consumed with it, it's like you have to know, like you've got to get it figured out. And so you begin, it allows a different part of your brain to open up, and you're able to gain answers and information. But you must be willing, like I had to be willing. I had no choice. I had to remain safe. I had to be okay. Like when you don't have a choice and your back is up against the wall, which I didn't realize it at the time, but I had to figure out, how am I going to stay safe? How am I going to get through this? It causes a part of your brain to open up that allows you to gain new information, to gain new answers. And it's the same when you have a passion that you're so passionate about and you're consumed with it. You begin to tap into that subconscious mind that gives you information, and you're able to override your current circumstances. So if you want to stay swimming in your current circumstances and stay swimming in the distraction of what's going on with you, great, but you've already been there, done that. I would think it's boring by now, and you want to do something else. And it's about being willing to be more excited and more interested in tapping into a reality where you've never been before. And you're more wanting that more than to stay in the known of fear, distraction, aggravation, that sort of thing. So for me, I had to stay safe. I was not harmed. I just knew things. I didn't realize I knew things at the time. All I knew is I had to get from point A to point B. And I knew what to do, and I trusted my instincts. I trusted and followed my inner knowing, my intuition on what to do next. you have this ability too. It's time now to learn how to use it. It's time to do that. It's time to go beyond and grow beyond where you've been before, unless you want to keep doing the same old, but you've already been there, done that. I mean, so you're going to stay on that hamster wheel and keep there? Or are you willing to get off that hamster wheel and walk in a completely different direction? Beginning, it's all about the mind. It's what are you consuming on a daily basis that's keeping you in the circumstances that you're in. So the only way to really receive guidance and know what to do for your particular set of circumstances is to connect, go within, dive deep, research, figure out what you're passionate about. And really, this time of social distancing has been such a blessing because it's caused us to have to navigate everything differently. We had to, like all of us, the whole world, had to navigate differently. And a lot of us were locked down, we're at home, and man, your stuff will get figured out real quick. I mean, I say we either grow or we go. And the circumstances that you were in, and being at home, whether you're alone or with your family, I mean, either all the fat's going to bubble up to the top, all the stuff that needs to be healed and taken a look at, or it may be the greatest thing ever. So, and also, too, with being home alone can be a great thing unless you sat in front of the TV and watched the news the entire time, which is like the biggest distraction in the world. There's nothing we can really do other than vote and be informed and all that sort of stuff, but there's nothing we can do to control the magnitude of what we've all been through in 2020 and all that sort of stuff. But what you can do is use that time to grow into greater realities, to figure out, to find out what you're most passionate about. I mean, now everybody's on Zoom, and you can be anywhere in the world learning something new, going and growing into something new, and stumbling perhaps upon your passion, or beginning to get answers to your business or your product or project and figuring out what's stuck in. Now, I have a newsletter that goes out every week. You're more than welcome to join it. If you go to MoniqueGuild.com and you put in your email, you'll get the newsletter. But also at the top of the page at the right-hand corner, there's a gold box. And there are free gifts there. And you can listen to how some of my clients have used my tools in navigating new waters and creating completely different new realities. So you're more than welcome to join, and you can also call the office 310-614-0946. And if you have any questions, you can talk to myself or my assistant. Be happy to help you. And to everybody who works with me starts with a 1-hour consultation, and then it's a retainer from there. But in that first hour, in the first 30 minutes, I help you figure out what you're probably trying or wanting to figure out for maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months or a couple of years. We get down to what's caused things to get stuck real quick, because my interest lies in turning around and developing the career or business or product or project. So people have spent years, in working with consultants or wanting to figure it out on your own. We figure it out very, very quickly. But you could also begin to gain new knowledge by going to my website, listening to free audio downloads, and also these shows have all been archived. They're all on major podcast platforms, and on the website, the Monique Guild Method radio show. I'm telling you all this because I'm going to be taking a hiatus for a couple of months, and if you want to keep learning and growing, there's ways to do that. So I just wanted to give you that information. So we're about to go to break, but I want to say that a new paradigm shift is happening. And this is a great thing. So we'll pick back up there. This is WGSO 990 AM, and you are listening to the Monique Guild Method radio show.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show. And this is Monique Guild, your host here. And we are talking again we're talking about be prepared, how leaders must lead from future realities having nothing to do with their past. So at the break, I left off saying it's because there's a new paradigm shift happening, and it gets to happen, which is really, really great. I said years ago, and I'm not talking about any political affiliations right now, whatsoever. I'm not saying any way or the other. But when Trump became president, I said that it's going to cause all the fat to bubble up to the top. Everything that needs to be looked at, needs to be exposed, needs to be healed, transformed. He's going to be that guy that's going to cause all that to happen. And that's exactly what happened. As a result of him being president, all kinds of stuff came up to the forefront, things that absolutely, even beginning with Harvey Weinstein, all that kind of craziness that went on, it all happened. And there's such a paradigm shift that's going on, which is fantastic, and it needs to happen. So really looking at what is the paradigm shift within your own reality that needs to happen. What is it that needs to change within you? What is a disruption that needs to, it's your life. You've got one life. What are you going to do with it? No matter what age you are, no matter where you are, you have something to contribute to the world. We all came in with abilities, and those abilities get to be honed in on and exercised. And I promise you, there's something for you to deliver, whether it's to your family, to the community. You've got something to contribute. And it's about hearing what that is. I could go on that track for a while. But as a community and as a world, we all became too isolated. We all became too, we just became too isolated. And everything that's happened over these last years, with 2020, like one of the worst situations we could possibly have ever thought of, it really kind of brought us together as human beings. We were all on the same boat. We're on the same planet together, and we were all going through these experiences together. And it caused a certain consciousness, a lot of things were revolutionized as a result of that. We may never return to the good old days. I think of the good old days sometimes is where there's no social media, there's no internet, there's no any of this stuff, no distractions, where we just get to focus in and hear ourselves, really hear what our next step is, and learning how to turn away from all of that and really begin to hear where you're heading and what you want to create is essential to revolutionizing the world. And you think, well, how can my small contribution revolutionize the world? It goes into the greater think tank, and it allows people later on down the line, after you pass away or even now, to tap into your knowledge. Like, we get to tap in and access, when you begin to grow and contemplate different realities, you also tap into the greater think tank. You get to tap into the greater minds that have already contributed to the areas that you're interested in, and that's why you gain access to things more easily. I hope that makes sense. I cannot stress enough about contemplation. It is one of the most important things that you could possibly ever do. Being a futurist, I love this ability I have. I love that I was born with it. I love the fact that as a kid, I was in a boot camp kind of training, familial situation, but I was getting training in how to use my abilities. I look at what I went through as a kid and what happened, and I've only skimmed the surface, as it was a good thing. It was all a great thing that happened because it caused me to hone in on my skills, and I was trained to know things before they happened and to read people and circumstances in order to survive. It was a survival mechanism, but it ended up being the biggest blessing in the world. I've gotten to work with some of the most interesting situations. I love meeting new people. I love helping people get on track. And so you can have all that too. The things that you're passionate about, you get to be a part of that revolution too. And looking at your past circumstances, whether you come from a really dysfunctional childhood or maybe the situation you're in now, if you can grow beyond that now, it will be the biggest blessing in the world, and the contribution you will make to the world will be greater than you could ever imagine. This, I will promise you, big time. It's amazing what begins to happen. And again, my website is Monique Guild, MoniqueGuild.com, and you may sign up for the newsletter there. You can go to the upper right corner, and there's a box there that has free products, and you can download and listen to the audios there. You can call the office here. You can also email me, Monique at MoniqueGuild.com, MoniQue at MoniqueGuild.com. And you can also listen to previous archives of the show. You can either do it on the website, MoniqueGuild.com, or you can go to the Monique Guild Method radio show, and there's different platforms there. It's on all the major podcast platforms where you can listen to the show. I'm going to be taking a hiatus for a couple of months, but I will be back, and I've so loved doing all this and really chiming in with your futures where you're going to get answers. And I'm here for you if you have any questions. And this is a time of significant change, but it is a time that needs to happen. We've gotten way too disconnected from each other. And most importantly, our inside selves. That's where the gold is. That I will promise you. Absolutely. And again, my office number, 310-614-0946, if you guys have any questions. I've loved doing this show here, and my producer, Tony, has been absolutely extraordinary. WGSO is an amazing station, and I hope you guys will contribute to their fund drive that they're having, and it's 75 years in operation, and it's an amazing town, and I love New Orleans, and I could keep going on and on and on. But again, if you've ever asked yourself, how far can your business go? What are your true strengths? What should you really be doing in your career? Why do you feel so stuck? What is your next step? Those are great questions to contemplate. And really get into that contemplation. You'll begin to access answers beyond your wildest dreams, and really push the envelope on who you've been as a human being. Like, think, how can I be a leader? Like, how can I begin to lead? What has me distracted from doing that? What do I need to learn in order to grow and go beyond where I've ever been before? So I've so enjoyed being here with all of you. This has been such an amazing time. Thank you so much, and I'm going to sign off now. You guys have a great, great rest of the week. This is Monique Guile, the Monique Guile Method Show, WGSO, 990 AM.